quiet revolution is underway in Jakarta's fighter procurement plans. Indonesia has resurrected its long-dormant Su-35 deal with Russia and simultaneously committed to acquiring 42 second-hand Chengdu J-10 combat aircraft from the People's Republic of China. The dual announcement, set to take center stage at the Indo Defence Expo Forum from June 11th to 14th, underscores a dramatic strategic pivot away from Western suppliers toward a more diversified portfolio. By adding the Chengdu J-10 to its fleet, Indonesia signals its intent to rapidly bolster air combat capability with an affordable, proven platform, even as it navigates the intensifying rivalry between Washington and Beijing. This move not only reshapes Jakarta's Air Force modernization roadmap, but also reinforces Indonesia's ambition to assert itself as a regional power broker, capable of balancing ties with both major powers. The Su-35 journey began in September 2015 when Defense Minister Ramazard Rayakudu declared plans to replace one squadron of aging Northrop F-5 Tiger fighters with 16 Sukhoi Su-35 flankers. Optimists envisioned a contract inked and aircraft gracing Indonesia's annual parade by October 2018. Yet negotiations proved arduous, and when a Memorandum of Understanding finally emerged in February 2018, it covered only 11 fighters. Deliveries were indefinitely delayed, overshadowed by doubts over budget and political will. Meanwhile, the attraction of alternative platforms, jets with shorter lead times or fewer export hurdles, grew increasingly tempting. Throughout this period, the prospect of the Chengdu J-10 remained on the sidelines, its potential long overshadowed by the glitz of Western and Russian offerings. By December 2021, Chief Marshal Fajar Prasetyo publicly announced the cancellation of the Su-35 procurement, citing fiscal constraints. Yet behind the scenes, it was the specter of countering America's adversaries through Sanctions Act penalties and potential Office of Foreign Assets Control restrictions that truly stymied progress. Indonesia's leadership faced the stark choice: risk U.S. secondary sanctions or abandon the flanker deal. Ultimately, the specter of financial and diplomatic fallout proved too great, prompting Jakarta to pause Su-35 ambitions and explore less contentious options. It is precisely in this environment, one of sanctions avoidance and urgent capability needs, that the Chengdu J-10 has emerged as an increasingly attractive proposition. When the Su-35 path closed, Indonesia turned its gaze westward. In February 2022, Jakarta signed for an initial 6 Dassault Aviation Rafale fighters, with first arrivals scheduled in January 2026. By August 2023, 18 more Rafales joined the order, bringing the total to 24. Meanwhile, an interim plan to procure 12 Mirage 2005 fighters from Qatar for deployment to Pontianak Air Base quietly faded away. Negotiations for Boeing F-50EX fighters under U.S. foreign military sales also gained traction, with visits by high-level officials to Washington and St. Louis signaling strong political backing. Yet, as Western offers advanced through complex bureaucratic channels, the appeal of the Chengdu J-10's rapid delivery and streamlined export approvals took on new significance. High hopes once centered on the F-50EX, touted as the next-generation air superiority fighter for Jakarta. Valued at up to $13.9 billion, the proposed sale would have delivered F-15EX aircraft, designated F-15IDN, starting in 2027. Visits by then Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin to Jakarta and Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto's tour of Boeing's Missouri production line underscored mutual commitment. Yet the program's lengthy production ramp-up, congressional review, and potential geopolitical strings attached gradually tempered expectations. In contrast, the Chengdu J-10, already in People's Liberation Army Air Force service, offered a cost-effective, readily available solution that Indonesia could field without protracted congressional approvals. Indonesia's decision to acquire 42 second-hand Chengdu J-10 fighters represents a watershed moment. Drawing directly from People's Liberation Army Air Force reserves, these J-10s can be delivered swiftly, minimizing capability gaps created by retiring Northrop F-5 Tigers and British Aerospace Hawk 100-200 trainers. Prior to transfer, each J-10 will undergo export modifications to integrate Indonesian avionics, communications, and weapon systems. Recent operational history adds to the platform's allure. During the India-Pakistan conflict, a J-10 successfully engaged and shot down an Indian Air Force Rafale using a long-range air-to-air missile, demonstrating its proven combat effectiveness. For Jakarta, the Chengdu J-10 offers not only speed of delivery and affordability, but also the chance to evaluate Chinese fourth-generation design against its new Rafale fleet. The J-10 procurement dovetails with Jakarta's broader tilt toward the People's Republic of China. In January 2025, Indonesia became the first Southeast Asian nation to join the China-led BRICS grouping, a move championing deeper ASEAN involvement in trade, development, and global governance. Bilateral trade between Jakarta and Beijing has leapt from $52 billion in 2013 to $135 billion in 2024, while Chinese direct investment topped $8.1 billion last year alone. President Prabowo Subianto's November 2024 pact with President Xi Jinping to forge a China-Indonesia community of destiny with regional and global influence elevated defense cooperation to unprecedented heights, making the Chengdu J-10 order a natural extension of this strategic partnership. The Indonesian Air Force faces an urgent imperative to replace airframes approaching their operational sunset. Northrop F-5 Tigers, operated since the 1970s, are due for retirement, and Hawk trainers require comprehensive overhauls that temporarily ground squadrons. Western platforms, mired in lengthy production queues and export clearance processes, threaten extended capability gaps. By contrast, the Chengdu J-10's existing production lines and People's Liberation Army inventory promise rapid turnover. Indonesia's procurement team recognizes that deploying J-10s within months, rather than years, will preserve operational readiness, enabling seamless transition from legacy jets to modern fourth-generation fighters. Operating Sukhoi Su-35 flankers, Dassault Rafales, and Chengdu J-10s side by side would be unprecedented for Jakarta, creating a quadruple supplier ecosystem when combined with planned F-15EX discussions. Each platform brings unique strengths: the Su-35's thrust vectoring engines, the Rafale's sensor fusion, and the J-10's cost-effectiveness and proven missile engagements. Yet this diversity demands separate maintenance depots, training syllabi, spare parts warehouses, and weapons integration, stretching logistics and budgets. Indonesia's decision to embrace the Chengdu J-10 despite these challenges speaks volumes about its willingness to prioritize capability and delivery speed over supply chain simplicity. By reviving the Su-35 deal and embracing 42 Chengdu J-10 fighters, Indonesia is redefining its defense posture. The J-10 acquisition, in particular, signals Jakarta's confidence in Chinese aerospace technology and its determination to maintain operational momentum. As the Indo Defence Expo and Forum unfolds in June, international observers will scrutinize how swiftly the J-10s arrive, how effectively they integrate with existing platforms, and what lessons Indonesia draws from comparative operations. Ultimately, Indonesia's bold maneuver to field Chengdu J-10s alongside Western and Russian jets embodies a new era of strategic autonomy, one in which the nation chooses suppliers based on performance, delivery, and cost rather than geopolitical loyalty alone.